Good evening, everyone. My name is Pradhyun, and I'm a 7th grader at Pennfield Middle School. Tonight, I will be reciting an excerpt from a speech entitled The Other America, written by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I want to use as a title for my lecture tonight, The Other America. And I use this title because there are literally two Americas. Every city in our country has this kind of dualism, this schizophrenia, split at so many parts. And so every city ends up being two cities rather than one. There are two Americas. One America is beautiful for situation. In this America, millions of people have the milk of prosperity and the honey of equality flowing before them. This America is the habitat of millions of people who have food and material necessities for their bodies, culture and education for their minds, freedom and human dignity for their spirits. In this America, children grow up in the sunlight of opportunity. But there is another America. This other America has a daily ugliness about it that transforms the buoyancy of hope into the fatigue of despair. In this America, men walk the streets in search for jobs that do not exist. In this America, millions of people are forced to live in distressing housing conditions. In this America, thousands of young people are deprived of an opportunity to get an adequate education. Every year, thousands of people finish high school reading at a 7th, 8th, and sometimes 9th grade level. Not because they're dumb, not because they don't have the native intelligence, but because the schools are so inadequate, so overcrowded, so devoid of quality, so segregated, if you will, that the best in these minds can never come out. Probably the most critical problem in the other America is the economic problem. There are so many people in the other America that can never make ends meet because their incomes are far too low, if they have incomes, and their jobs are so devoid of quality. And so in this other America, unemployment is a reality. So the vast majority of Negroes in America find themselves perishing on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. This has caused a great deal of bitterness. It has caused ache and anguish. These are the conditions that cause individuals to feel that they don't have any other alternative than to engage in violent rebellions to get attention. And I must say tonight that a riot is the language of the unheard. So what is it that America has failed to hear? It has failed to hear that the plight of the Negro poor has worsened over the last 12 or 15 years. It has failed to hear that the promises of freedom and justice have not been met. And it has failed to hear that large segments of white society are more concerned about tranquility and the status quo than about justice and humanity. We will never solve the problem of racism until there is a recognition of the fact that racism still stands at the center of so much of our nation. And we must see racism for what it is. It is the nymph of an inferior people. It is the notion that one group has all of the knowledge, all of the insights, all of the work, all of the purity, all of the dignity. And another group is worthless on a lower level of humanity, inferior. Racism is based on an ontological affirmation. It is the notion that the very being of a people is inferior. And we've got to see that this still exists in American society. And until it's removed, there will be people walking the streets of life and living in their humble dwellings, feeling that they are nobody, feeling that they have no dignity, and feeling that they are not respected. The first thing that must be on the agenda of our nation is to get rid of racism. Thank you.